A wealthy, arrogant man tries to humiliate a black waitress in front of everyone by demanding she solve a Rubik's Cube in just 30 seconds. He's sure she'll fail and look foolish. But what unfolds next when the whole room sees who the real genius is? 30 seconds. That's all you get, sweetheart. The words crack across the Dallas Jazz Club diner, rattling ice and silencing sax riffs. Smartphone screens rise. Neon paints 23-year-old Nia Brooks, balancing a tray of melting sundaes. Carter Hale, billionaire venture capitalist, leans back, drops a pristine Rubik's Cube onto the bar, and smirks. His entourage whoops. A Rolex dings. The pianist's left hand freezes. Nia's pulse stutters. 10 minutes ago, she was topping off coffee at table 7. Now she stands in a spotlight she never asked for, surrounded by strangers hungry for a viral clip. Carter's grin widens. If any person bussing tables beats my time, drinks for the house, fail and you still get my generous tip. Laughter ripples. Phones tilt her way. Heat drums beneath Nia's ribs. Double shifts fun night classes and her mother's medication. Chess trophies and hackathon medals stay hidden behind service smiles. Safer unseen. Tonight, hiding isn't an option. Manager Mrs. Delaney, counting on Carter's tab, whispers an apology. Nia sets down the sticky tray, dries her palms, and steps forward. Sneakers squeak, heart pounds. Ready? Carter asks. Start when I touch it. A buzzed patron counts down. 3, 2, 1. Timer beeps. Plastic clicks. White cross, edge pair, edge pair. Childhood flashes. Dad timing her on a thrift store cube. Jazz vinyl spinning in the background. 15 seconds. First 2 layers done. Carter jeers. Halfway already. Patrons snicker. 17 seconds. She blocks them out, seeing color patterns as flowing code. 21 seconds. Orange aligns. Carter's drink stops mid-air. Scholarship lost after hospital bills flickers through her mind. Algorithms calmed her in ICU waiting rooms. They still calm her now. 26 seconds. Final algorithm R prime, U R prime, U prime. 29.2. Done. She slams the solved cube on the bar. Silence snatches the room for a breathless beat. Then the pianist hammers a triumphant blues run. Cheers erupt. Carter's promise of free drinks ricochets back at him. Nia exhales, steadying her knees. She doesn't bow. She lifts her tray, but hands reach out. You schooled him. A local radio host thrusts a mic. Name? Nia Brooks, she says. The name rolls through speakers, extending beyond the walls. Carter forces a smile. Drinks on me. Applause swells, his humiliation complete. His entourage melts toward the door. Neon now feels like a crown of light. Mrs. Delaney wipes misty eyes behind the bar. Nia glances at the clock. 10:07 p.m. She still has a Python assignment due at dawn, rent by Friday. Yet she's just rearranged more than colored squares. She's rearranged the story of who gets to be brilliant. She refreshes the sundaes and heads back to table 7. The desserts are half sunken, but tonight everything tastes sweet. Under the brass chandeliers, a hush settles, a single fragile breath shared by 200 strangers. Even the bartender pauses mid-pour. Someone near the stage murmurs, "She's shaking," and the words land like a dare. Nia squares her shoulders. Shaking is allowed, quitting is not. A flash of sophomore year, slow nights behind the diner, racing solves with Jamal the dishwasher, timing each other on a cracked phone screen. They called her Cube Queen, and she laughed because the crown was imaginary and therefore safe. Tonight the nickname resurfaces, heavier, real. 20 feet away, a little girl stands on her chair, eyes wide, whispering to her father. She's magic. The compliment slides into Nia's bloodstream like warmth. Carter's guests retreat into embarrassed chuckles. One tries to joke it off. Just a bar trick. But the crowd has already chosen its hero, and it isn't the man with the money. As the bartender finally completes the pour, and lines of free drinks stretch across polished wood, Nia senses the narrative traveling, phone to phone, city to city. She imagines some freshman coder watching the clip tomorrow, realizing brilliance can wear an apron too. She makes a mental note. Call mom before class, tell Jamal what happened, maybe post the algorithm breakdown for fun. Life will go on, but different. As she walks away, notifications ping across the club, clips of her solve already trending under hashtag CubeQueen. Tomorrow's news cycle is waiting, but tonight belongs to powdered sugar, neon blues, and a waitress who turned 30 borrowed seconds into history. Phones keep buzzing long after the saxophone riffs return. Nia finishes the round of free drinks, but every step feels like walking through a current of whispers and camera flashes. Carter Hale's name trends alongside hers. Cube Queen versus Cube Clown. Mrs. Delaney gently nudges Nia toward the staff hallway. Take 5, honey. Inside the narrow break room, fluorescent light hums, and the smell of burnt coffee grounds clings to the walls. She sets her phone on a milk crate. 7,000 retweets. Her friend request list explodes with blue-check profiles she has only seen on tech podcasts. A DM pops up from STEMFORCEGIRLS Inc. Saw your cube solve. Let's talk scholarships. Zoom tomorrow? Scholarships mean tuition paid. Tuition paid means no more double shifts and sleeping through lectures. She types, yes, please, deletes, please, then adds it back. Humility is her reflex. Carter bursts into the hallway without knocking. His tie is loosened, his face flushed Cabernet red. Cute trick, he says, voice low. But let's not pretend a party stunt makes you special. I break mental records for breakfast. He spins the cube between his fingers, autographed by half the bar. Nia's spine stiffens. You challenged me. I solved it. End of story. Hardly. He rubs his jaw like he's pricing a hostile takeover. I'm launching a streaming platform for mental competitions. Mind Games Live. Your clip is free marketing. I'll pay you $1,000 to appear in New York Friday. Rematch. 60 seconds, blindfolded. He taps her name tag. Think about your mom's meds. Mom's prescriptions cost $200 a month, but Carter's tone drips ownership, not opportunity. She pictures being the paid foil, the token underdog his platform needs. Thanks, but no, she says. His smile turns razor thin. You'll regret that. He exits, leaving engine fume anger behind. Her hands shake harder than during the solve. She texts Jamal, heads up, trouble brewing. Back out front, the club crackles. Patrons pat her shoulder. Someone presses a $50 tip into her palm. She finishes the shift floating on adrenaline, but the elevator to her apartment dumps her into reality. Peeling paint, a fridge louder than traffic, rental notices under a magnet. At 2:14 a.m., her phone chirps again. Vid Pulse alert, 1 million views in 3 hours. Comments flood, hire this girl, Silicon Valley. Proof genius wears aprons. Carter Hale exposed. A single reply ices her veins. Contracts beat cubes, sweetheart. See you Friday. Carter's checkmarked profile hovers. Sleep is impossible. She opens her laptop to finish a Python assignment on recursive backtracking, ironically the same algorithm family she used tonight. Code swims. She clicks away and plays an old voicemail from Dad. Remember, little queen, puzzles are just stories waiting for an ending. Tell the story. A story needs characters, conflict, resolution. She has the first two. The third is hers to write. Sun cracks through dirty blinds. She showers, ties her braids back, heads to campus wearing yesterday's sneakers. On the quad, clusters of students huddle around phones, watching her solve in slow motion. Nia passes unnoticed. Uniform camouflage works until it doesn't. Professor Lin greets her at the classroom door, eyes sparkling. Ms. Brooks, we must update your scholarship file. After class, he slides a printed email across his desk. Texas Institute of Technology Merit Award. Full tuition plus stipend. Tears threaten. She fights them down. Take the weekend to sign, Lynn says. This stands with or without media buzz. Memory of Carter's threat echoes, but she signs anyway. Ink feels like armor. Campus reporters swarm outside. Will you accept Hale's rematch? What does this mean for women in STEM? The air smells of wet grass and ambition. She dodges them until a sleek electric car glides up. The rear window lowers. Ava Sinclair, founder of Code Eva, a mentorship nonprofit. Need a lift? Ava's voice is warm, controlled power. Nia hesitates, then climbs in. Leather seats hush the world. Ava taps a tablet. Carter on a morning talk show. A stick of gum could beat her again, he laughs, twirling the cube. Audience claps. Ava pauses the clip. He's framing you as a lucky fluke. That sticks unless we counter it. I told him no. Good. Let him roar into an empty arena. But you still need protection. Legal, digital, emotional. My team can help. Why? Ava smiles. 10 years ago, a banker said I'd never code my way out of poverty. I enjoy proving bankers wrong. She drops Nia outside the diner for the night shift. Sunset dusts the sky copper. Co-workers cheer. Jamal high-fives her, slips a tiny keychain cube into her apron. For luck, he says. Carter storms in an hour later, cameras flanking him. He slaps a contract thick as a phone book on the bar. Last chance. Patrons hush. Mrs. Delaney's face pales. Nia wipes her hands, walks to him. She leans close enough to taste his cologne. I already solved your puzzle, she whispers. Go scramble yourself. Gasps flutter. Carter's jaw locks. He grabs the paperwork, spins on his heel, and flees to booing and flashing lenses. Nia returns to refilling coffees, heart thundering but steady. Outside, thunderclouds gather. Texas heat brews a storm. The real game is shifting from cubes to boardrooms and broadcast rights. But tonight she owns her apron, her algorithms, her future. When the final customer leaves, she locks the door and steps into humid rain. Each drop feels like punctuation, marking the end of one puzzle and the beginning of a far bigger one. Phones still buzz as Dallas wakes, and Nia Brooks walks straight into the storm Carter Hale has whipped up. A cease and desist letter demands every clip of her 30-second solve be taken down within 24 hours, or she will face a $7 million lawsuit. Ava Sinclair and Code Eva's counsel, Julian Rios, file a declaratory judgment action on her behalf. Fair use, factual reporting. Cameras catch Nia signing the papers. Ava launches the hashtag #LaSurSolve4Change with a 2-minute video linking Nia's moment to the wider fight for women of color in STEM, and the tag rockets up the trends list. On campus that afternoon, President Duarte announces a full-ride scholarship in Nia's name. Mid-speech, the live stream collapses into Carter's Mind Games Live logo, an obvious DDoS attack. Nia crouches at a router rack, reroutes traffic, and restores the feed in 40 seconds, earning cheers in another viral clip, Waitress saves university Wi-Fi. Carter tweets a slick poster, him versus her, Madison Square Garden, blindfolded, 60 seconds. Julian says ignore it. Ava proposes hijacking the spectacle. Inside Code Eva's makerspace, a high school girls team unveils QSolver, a cube-cracking robot that averages 4.4 seconds. Ava schedules a charity duel, Nia blindfolded against the robot, profits to girls' STEM scholarships. Win or lose, possibility wins, she says. Carter escalates with a couriered contract, lifetime tuition and mom's medical bills if she appears on his platform, and a defamation suit if she refuses. Nia tears it in half. Thunder growls over Dallas. She codes through the night and replies to Ava, ready to flip the script. Saturday night, the hangar glows violet under LED rigs. Jazz chords drift over folding chairs packed with donors. Tens of thousands watch online. Nia takes the mic. 2 weeks ago, I poured coffee for a living. I still pour coffee. But I also write code, solve puzzles, and dream bigger than my paycheck. If you have ever been underestimated, this moment is for you. Applause explodes. She blindfolds herself, palms the scrambled cube, and the bell clangs. White cross in 2 seconds, first 2 layers by 17. Sweat beads. She hears Dad's voice. Tell the story. Last layer edges orient. Final PLL snaps home. She slams the cube down and tears off the blindfold. 31.6 seconds. QSolver finishes at 32.4. Donation counters on giant screens spin past $2 million in minutes. Nia staggers, dizzy with relief. The chat floods with heart emojis and Cube Queen. Carter tweets back, numbers can be faked. The replies bury him in laughter. As the stream winds down, Ava whispers, he will escalate. Nia nods. Puzzles grow harder before they resolve. But tonight possibility tastes sweet, and that taste is fuel. She steps into the cool post-storm night clutching her keychain cube, ready for whatever algorithm comes next. The Monday sun crawls over Dallas like a spotlight searching for flaws, and for the first time in her life, Nia Brooks is the center of its beam. By 8 a.m., she has 3 voicemails from national morning shows, 2 pending friend requests from pop stars, and a calendar invite from a White House staffer labeled STEM Opportunity Roundtable. She also has a headache the size of Texas lightning. Outside her apartment, a black SUV idles. 2 men in gray suits step out, posture military straight. "Miss Brooks?" one asks, sliding a thick envelope from a leather folder. The language is precise, cold enough to leave frost. Hale Enterprises v. Brooks, Sinclair, and Codiva. Carter is suing for intellectual property theft, defamation, and irreparable harm to brand value. $10 million. Payment demanded in 30 days. Nia closes the door behind them, palms flat against peeling paint, lungs refusing to expand. 10 million is a number she has only ever seen on Forbes covers. Julian Rios answers on the first ring. "Serve and scare tactic," he says. "Text me photos. We'll file a motion to dismiss before lunch." But fear is a stubborn algorithm. It loops, refactoring itself into every thought. Walking to class, she feels eyes on her. Benign curiosity or potential subpoenas. Hard to tell. A drone hovers above the quad, streaming a student reporter's live commentary. "Cube Queen under fire from disgraced billionaire." She ducks into the computer lab. Professor Lin pauses his lecture and writes one sentence on the whiteboard. "Fear is just data. Process it." Then he hands Nia a worn paperback. Gödel, Escher, Bach. "For the moments when puzzles feel bigger than people," he says. During lunch break, Ava Sinclair FaceTimes from a co-working loft surrounded by teen coders soldering circuit boards. Julian's on the dismissal. Meanwhile, we go proactive. She flips her camera. A 5-foot screen shows Carter on Finance TV declaring Nia a viral novelty, not a serious mind. Below his feed scrolls a countdown to Mind Games Live Global Challenge, a 24-hour online tournament designed to drown the unsolved for change and noise. "Let him run the circus," Ava says. "We shift the narrative again, from you to opportunity for thousands." She proposes a virtual hackathon. Code the Cube, open to every U.S. high school girl, scholarships for the top 50. Nia swallows nerves and records a 90-second invitation. Her voice cracks once. Ava keeps the take. "Authenticity," she says, "beats polish." By dusk, the clip tops 1 million views, but Carter strikes back within hours. A shaky phone video surfaces on fringe gossip channels. Nia in diner uniform snarling, "Rich customers can choke on their own arrogance." The clip is grainy, lips don't sync, but outrage travels faster than fact. Hashtag split, hashtag Cube Queen, expose trends alongside hashtag deepfake alert. Nia's inbox floods with racial slurs and threats. Jamal calls furious. "That ain't your voice. Your sources don't hiss like that." He sends waveform comparisons he made on a borrowed laptop. Julian loops in a digital forensics professor. They schedule an emergency livestream. Tuesday night. Codiva's studio is an old warehouse strung with Edison bulbs and humming servers. Nia sits at a wooden table, heart thudding like bass. Beside her, Dr. Mei Chen overlays spectrograms on screen. The fake clip's fundamental frequency is spliced, sample rate inconsistent. She demonstrates real-time mouth shape mapping. Carter's team barely attempted proper phoneme frames. Nia leans into the camera. "If you can manipulate a video this easily to silence one waitress, imagine what can be done to anyone without a platform." She pauses, lets the weight settle. Truth should not depend on production budget. 12 million people watch live. When the feed ends, Carter's latest tweet, she panics and plays victim, is ratioed into oblivion. Major networks replay the forensics segment. Experts confirm the deepfake within hours. Investors begin bailing on Hale Enterprises. Mind Games Livestock, which IPO'd on hype months earlier, drops 12% overnight. But storms rarely pass clean. At 2 a.m., Nia's mom calls from their hometown in East Texas, voice trembling. Someone spray-painted liar across the front porch. Nia offers to come home. Mom refuses. Finish what you started, baby. We will repaint in the morning. Guilt spins inside her like misaligned cube layers. She wants to retreat, to shrink back into anonymity. But stories once released do not fold themselves back into drawers. She returns to code, an old comfort. At dawn, her laptop screen fills with scrolling matrix green as she writes a script that flags deepfake artifacts in real time. She names it Truth Layer and pushes to GitHub with an open source license. By breakfast, it has 1,000 stars. Wednesday brings a new twist. The Dallas Morning Herald uncovers leaked emails. Carter directing a marketing firm to create sympathy obstacles that would force the audience to root for the billionaire comeback. The emails include budget lines for viral humiliation stunt at Jazz Club. Nia's 30-second wager was not random. Carter's people scouted the diner weeks before. The revelation detonates across media. Sponsors cancel Mind Games Live. Universities pull speaking invitations. In a desperate pivot, Carter releases a tearful apology video, shot in soft lighting, voice shaking exactly on cue. Comment sections roast the performance within minutes. Nia should feel vindicated. Instead, she feels exhausted, hollowed by adrenaline. She attends class, takes notes, shares lab jokes, but laughter feels 2 beats behind reality. That evening, campus security escorts her to the president's office. Secret Service agents await. The White House roundtable has moved from invitation to formal request. They need her in D.C. Friday. Travel, hotel, a chance to shape national STEM equity policy. At home, she packs the thrift store blazer she wore to last year's career fair. It suddenly looks small. She FaceTimes Mom, who applies fresh white paint to the porch in the background. Porch looks brand new, Nia says. It's stronger now, Mom replies, smiling. So are you. Thursday dawns cold. Airport gate screens replay her cube solve. Strangers clap as she boards. She spends the flight refining Truth Layer on no Wi-Fi mode, thinking about how algorithms can protect stories instead of distorting them. DC greets her with April cherry blossoms and armored SUVs. In a marble hallway outside the Roosevelt Room, she meets 2 other panelists, Olympic fencer Maya Lopez and astrophysicist Dr. Reza Patel. They grip hands like teammates before a final match. Inside, advisors circle like pieces on a chessboard. Nia recounts her journey. The wager, the lawsuit, the deepfake, the porch graffiti. She pushes a flash drive across the table, Truth Layer. It's not perfect, she says, but if we fund open, auditable tools, ordinary citizens can defend their narratives. An aide whispers in the president's ear. Moments later, she is escorted to an adjacent press room. Dozens of microphones bloom. Nia takes a breath, feels the cube keychain in her pocket, and begins, "Stories build nations. We must keep the code of those stories transparent, or power rewrites them." Flash bulbs explode. She continues for 10 steady minutes, equal parts vulnerability and algorithmic elegance. When she finishes, silence hangs, then applause pulses wall to wall. Backstage, Ava calls, "Girl, you lit DC up." Also, Mind Games Live shares just cratered another 18%. Carter's board is voting to remove him as CEO. Nia leans against a column. Relief tastes of copper and exhaustion. "What now?" she asks. "Now you choose your next puzzle," Ava says. Outside, journalists shout questions. One voice rises above the others. "Nia, what would you say to Carter Hale tonight?" She pictures the Rubik's Cube, the condescending smile, the deepfake smear, and sees past them to 10 million girls who watched her hold ground. She steps to the podium. "I'd say everyone deserves a puzzle they think they can't solve, because solving it teaches you who you are. Maybe tonight Mr. Hale is learning that lesson." Flashbulbs sparkle like white noise. She turns away, not in retreat, but in continuation, already mapping the next layer of colors, the next still scrambled face of the cube. Morning light slants through the hotel curtains, and Nia's eyes snap open before her alarm. She lies there a moment, absorbing the hush of a city still half asleep, before her phone vibrates with a dozen notifications. Overnight, Carter Hale has been formally removed as CEO of Hale Enterprises. A terse press release cites ethical breaches and reputational damage. Stock tickers roll green and red like a glitching mosaic across financial channels. Nia exhales. a slow, deliberate release. But victory feels thinner than she imagined. She fingers the tiny cube keychain and whispers, one face at a time. Downstairs, the White House liaison hands her revised talking points for a press briefing. Nia skims them, dry, cautious language about digital authenticity safeguards. She folds the paper. I'll speak from experience, she says, and steps past the marble columns into blinding camera flashes. Reporters shout. She singles out a high school journalist in oversized glasses and answers his question first, recounting how a waitress's paycheck rarely covers legal counsel and how open-source tools can tip that scale. The bigger networks follow his lead. The narrative shifts away from corporate drama to citizen empowerment. Afterward, Ava Sinclair ushers Nia into a rideshare headed to Reagan National. Code the cube registrations just past 20,000, Ava says, scrolling her tablet. Girls from all 50 states, plus Puerto Rico. She smirks. Carter wanted a spectacle. We gave them a movement. On the plane back to Dallas, Nia drafts a welcome video for the hackathon, rehearsing lines under her breath while curious passengers pretend not to eavesdrop. By the time wheels touch Texas asphalt, she has the script memorized, and a fresh message from Julian. Hale's lawyers propose dropping every claim if you sign an NDA. She types back, no silence for sale. Send. Mom meets her at the Greyhound depot, porch paint still flecked on her wrists. They hug long enough to slow the world. Over takeout dinner, Mom reveals she has framed Nia's first CubeSolve certificate and hung it beside church photos. Reminds me, Mom says, tapping the frame, that giants fall the same way puzzles do, algorithm by algorithm. Later that night, a notification pings. Carter has scheduled a live broadcast. Curiosity wins. Nia clicks. Carter appears gaunt, eyes rimmed red. He concedes defeat, yet blames cancel culture for his downfall. In closing, he says, I hope Ms. Brooks will remember mercy. Comments scroll savage and unsparing. Nia closes the tab, uneasy. Mercy is easy when you are winning, harder when hurt lingers like a bruise. 3 days pass in whirlwind. TruthLayer hits 10,000 forks on GitHub. The university's comp sci department invites Nia to co-teach a digital forensics seminar. She still pours coffee on weekend shifts, her choice a tether to normalcy, but patrons treat her like visiting royalty, slipping encouraging notes instead of orders. Friday night, the hackathon's opening ceremony streams from the diner's back room, now strung with fairy lights and borrowed webcams. Nia steps into the improvised studio, palms damp, throat tight. Thousands of teenage faces pixelate across monitors, living proof that the story has outgrown her. She speaks without teleprompter. Maybe someone told you brilliance has a dress code. Tonight we rewrite that memo. Tonight, every scrambled pattern is an invitation. She holds up the familiar cube, scrambles it in one fluid motion, and sets it beside the keyboard. First challenge, write the algorithm that solves possibility. Ready? Go. As countdown music thunders, Jamal whispers from off-camera. Look, trending sidebar, number cube girls eclipses sports and celebrity gossip. Nia blinks away tears before the chat notices. Around midnight, a priority email arrives from the Department of Education, a pilot grant to expand TruthLayer into public school curricula. They want Nia on the advisory board. She imagines classrooms where no deep fake can smear a kid into silence. The idea lands like sunrise in her chest. Outside, thunderheads gather again. Texas spring refuses calm. Nia steps onto the rear fire escape for air. Rain starts, fat and warm. She remembers the night Carter threw down the cube, remembers the crack of humiliation blooming into challenge. She breathes the rain-washed air and realizes the algorithm has solved itself into something larger. Not a feud, but a framework. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. Against instinct, she answers. Carter's voice, raw and small, asks, "How did you stay so certain?" She thinks of Mom repainting the porch, of Dad's voice on old voicemails, of students cheering Wi-Fi restored, of a tiny keychain cube warm in her palm. "I wasn't certain," she says. "I was consistent." Silence on the line. Then, "That sounds like victory." "No," she replies, gaze tracking the neon diner sign haloed in rain. It sounds like a beginning. She ends the call. Behind her, computer screens glow with scrolling code as girls in every time zone chase the next solution. Nia wipes rain from her cheeks, steps back inside, and joins them. The Code the Cube hackathon roars into its second night like a digital carnival. 4,600 teams are still in play, their webcams glowing over energy drink cans and rainbow-lit keyboards. Leaderboards pulse across three gigantic diner-mounted monitors. And every time a solver breaks the 10-second mark, the room erupts as if someone hit a game-winning three-pointer. Nia stands in the narrow aisle between booths that now serve as workstations, headset on, fielding questions from Maine to Maui. She is equal parts mentor, referee, and hype squad, explaining parity errors in one tab while cheering a 9-year-old's first F2L in another. The diner's Wi-Fi buckles, her old script from the campus router rescue becomes the emergency patch here too. Jamal keeps sliding her mugs of citrus tea, but she forgets to drink them until the ice turns to glassy puddles. At 3 a.m., a hush scythes through the chatter. Team Blue Bonnet, a trio of sisters from rural Texas, posts a blindfolded 7-second solve using only audio cues coded through TruthLayer's spectrum analyzer. The chat lights up with fireworks emojis. Nia's throat tightens with awe. She signals the broadcast crew to push their screen onto the global feed. Overnight, #1 blind solve queens trends. Donations spike another $500,000. Yet in the glow of victory, a shadow slips in. Ava Sinclair calls from California. Voice ragged. We've detected a bot farm hitting the registration servers. DDoS mixed with credential stuffing. Same signature as the one that hit your university stream. Carter? He is ousted, humiliated, perhaps desperate enough to torpedo the movement that toppled him. Nia's pulse jolts into speed cubing tempo. Shut down the API, route through the TruthLayer cluster, isolate malicious IP blocks. Her fingers fire commands. Within minutes, rogue traffic slams into a sandboxed mirror, harmlessly looping. Ava whistles. Never seen a counter move that fast, she says. You sure you want grad school, not cyber command? But the attack leaves a clue. An embedded JSON string that reads endgame 24 hours. A countdown? A threat? Nia screen shares with Julian, who decodes a geotag pointing to a downtown Dallas conference center. The very hall Carter booked for Mind Games Live's canceled finale. Something is scheduled there tomorrow night. The plot thickens like honey in ice water. Julian wants law enforcement. Ava votes for ignoring the bait. Nia fingers the keychain cube, feels the embossed colors. We outsmarted $1 billion smear campaign, she says. We can outpuzzle this. She assembles an ad hoc task force. Jamal, Dr. Mei Chen, and 2 of the Blue Bonnet sisters logged in via tablet. Mei patches satellite maps. The sisters write a script scraping vendor manifests. Within an hour, they uncover a permit for a charity cube gala under a Shell LLC. Owner unknown but paid from a Cayman-registered Hale subsidiary. Carter, stripped of board seat, still controls shadow money. 9 a.m. finds Nia on her first real breakfast in days. Diner pancakes, blueberries shaped like a cube pattern, courtesy of the cook. Between bites, she outlines their response. Broadcast the finals live from the very hall Carter meant to hijack, flip the ambush into an even larger platform, and invite every participant to project their code on the walls, turning concealed scheming into radical transparency. Mrs. Delaney, who has traded apron for makeshift producer clipboard, worries about security. Cameras, yes. Ambush, no. Julian calls in off-duty sheriffs. Ava secures an insurance waiver. Within 6 hours, the deserted conference hall is transformed. Strip lights form a giant cube on the ceiling. Rows of folding chairs circle the central stage, like layers ready to turn. Nia arrives with Mom and Jamal just after sunset. Volunteers hang banners that read, "Solve in the light." The Blue Bonnet sisters squeal when they finally meet Nia in person. She kneels so camera flashes catch them at eye level. 30 minutes before showtime, a hush drifts across the hall. Carter strides in through an unguarded side door, flanked by a single PR rep. Security approaches. Nia waves them down. Public space? Public reckoning, she says. Carter looks diminished, but defiance still flickers. Enjoy the glow while it lasts, he mutters. Endgame's bigger than your diner dial-up revolution. Nia tilts her head. If endgame means more girls solving cubes and writing code, bring it. He tries a smirk that never leaves taxiing. Clock's ticking. He points to the ceiling lights. One layer glows red, forming a digital countdown. 24:00. He spins on his heel and disappears into the backstage dark. Murmurs ripple. Jamal grips Nia's elbow. We stopping this? She inhales. We solve it. The live feed kicks off. Nia walks to center stage beneath the crimson ticking lights. Welcome, solvers. Her voice, steady but urgent, reverberates. We've got 24 minutes on that mystery clock. Every line of code you write will project here in real time. Let's turn unknowns into universals. Keyboards clack like rain on a tin roof. Rows of commands crawl the giant screens. Python, Rust, JavaScript, all hunting the source of the countdown signal. May runs packet captures. Bluebonnet sisters parse header fields. 12 minutes in, Jamal spots it, a failsafe encoded in the LED controller's firmware. If the timer hits 0, a macro will overwrite the hackathon database with ads for Mind Games Live 2.0, classic brand hijack. 10 minutes left. Nia's mind fractures into sub-algorithms. Locate write privilege, patch authentication token, reroute display feed. The hall breathes with her, strangers united by shared logic loops. She opens a terminal, fingers blur. 8 minutes. She recalls Dad's puzzle mantra. Parallel moves save seconds. She delegates decryption to Bluebonnet line by line, letting their fresh eyes spot rotated ciphers. 6 minutes. A root key tumbles out, Carter's birthday reversed. 4 minutes. May injects the patch. The timer freezes at 4:03, digits flickering. Jamal shouts, check some mismatch, loopback glitch. They need a clean overwrite. Nia exhales, slams in an old speed cubing shortcut, left front, top, inverse. Code mirrors the physical sequence, her signature. Enter. Countdown digits dissolve, replaced by a live montage. Thousands of hackathon webcams cheering. The crowd inside the hall erupts. Palms thunder on tables. Tears sparkle on faces young and weathered alike. Nia bites her lip hard enough to taste iron, then grins through it. Security radios report Carter slipping out a side exit, but it no longer matters. The algorithm he tried to weaponize now carries the story of his defeat worldwide. The hall chants, Cube Queen, not as worship, but as declaration that brilliance can bloom anywhere. Cameras still rolling, Nia invites the Bluebonnet sisters to the stage. They each clutch a cube the color of Texas wildflowers. She hands them internship offers from Codeva funded by tonight's donations. The youngest, Ruby, whispers, we're gonna build rover code someday. Nia kneels, whispers back, I'll ride that rover's launch livestream. Mom watches from front row, hand pressed to her heart. Tears glide down her cheek, catching rainbow LED reflection. Later she will say she saw Nia's destiny crystallize in that glow. But right now all she sees is her child fully expanded. No edges hidden. The broadcast wraps with a scoreboard. $23 million raised for girls in STEM, 52,000 participants, 0 bytes of Carter's brand left intact. Nia signs off. Puzzle solved. Next layer tomorrow. Outside, the Texas night hums with applause and cicadas. Exhaustion slams her bones the moment the spotlight dies. She drifts backstage, collapses into a folding chair. Jamal plops beside her, offering a lukewarm sports drink. Still shaking? He asks. Yeah, she says, but shaking is allowed. Quitting is not. He laughs low. What's the next puzzle? Rest, she answers, then amends. And chapter 7. Rain-scented dawn eases across Dallas, washing neon ghosts from the skyline. Inside the quiet diner, tables still pushed together, extension cords coiled like sleeping snakes. Nia Brooks wipes down the counter with deliberate calm. She could be any waitress beginning another shift, yet the air around her vibrates with stories now tethered to her name. She pauses, fingers brushing the tiny keychain cube clipped to her apron. Each colored square is aligned, yet the cube still turns. Proof that perfection is not a fixed state, but a motion, a choice made again and again. Her mind replays the last frenetic weeks, the slap of Carter's cube on polished wood, the hiss of deepfake lies, the roar of thousands coding under a countdown clock. Every scene feels impossible, except she has the receipts, commit logs, live stream archives, porch paint beneath her mother's nails. Nia stacks coffee cups and considers what has truly shifted. Carter Hale is a cautionary headline now, investors licking wounds he inflicted on himself. Yet she knows villains are not the only architects of struggle. Sometimes the obstacle is doubt whispering that brilliance must dress a certain way, speak in a certain register, look like a certain face. She remembers that whisper ruling her life far longer than Carter ever did. She flips the closed sign to open. A lone customer strolls in, a middle-aged mechanic with grease on his jacket. He orders black coffee and watches her like he has something to say. "My daughter," he begins, clearing his throat, "was on your live stream last night. Told me she wants to learn Python now." He shrugs, eyes misty. "Never thought code could look like her." Nia sets the mug in front of him, steady hands betraying the tremor in her chest. Impact is rarely glamorous. It is felt in private moments like this one, where a family recalibrates what's possible.
She learns his daughter's name, Carrie, and promises to email beginner resources. The mechanic leaves a 20 for a $2 coffee, but the real tip is the warmth blooming behind Nia's ribs. Mid-morning, Ava texts, 23 interns accepted offers overnight. Blue, Bonnet Sisters top of the list. Julian emails the final court update. Hale Enterprises drops every claim, pays Code the Cube Foundation's legal fees, and must place a public apology on its homepage for 90 days. Nia reads the PDF, absorbing each legal clause like sunlight after a storm. She steps outside during her break. The sky is clean blue, the kind that makes promises. Across the street, a billboard advertises TruthLayer, now supported by 3 major browsers. A pair of teenagers snap a selfie beneath it, laughing at how their faces distort when they flip the demo deepfake filter. Defense by design, she thinks. Stories protected at the point of creation. Her phone buzzes again. This time, a video message from the Blue Bonnet Sisters. They sit around a kitchen table, cubes clicking as they try to beat one another's blindfold times. Little Ruby looks straight into the camera. "Miss Nia," she says, "thank you for showing us that smart can look like overalls and braids and sneakers." The feed jitters with joyous chaos, then cuts. Nia presses a palm to her sternum. It feels like catching a shooting star and realizing it is warm. She records a quick reply. "Your brilliance was always there. I only held up a mirror." She hits send and exhales a quivering laugh that tastes of relief. Lunch rush comes and goes. Between orders, she drafts a post, the words unfolding like cube algorithms in her head. Sometimes the world scrambles your colors on purpose, hoping you will believe the pattern is too tangled to solve. But every puzzle has an algorithm. Discipline, community, courage. Solve one layer, then the next. If the last face fights you, rotate your perspective and keep turning. If you've ever faced an overwhelming force in your life, share your story in the comments. And if you believe unnoticed talent deserves the spotlight, hit that like button so the algorithm brings more hidden brilliance to the surface. She adds the hashtag #, solve in the light, and posts. Within minutes, her phone becomes a drumline of notifications. People recounting moments they were underestimated, teachers asking for TruthLayer tutorials, parents uploading clips of children twisting borrowed cubes with fierce concentration. Evening settles, painting the diner windows gold. Nia finishes her shift, unties the apron, and pockets the cube. Mrs. Delaney hugs her, whispering, "Take tomorrow off. The world's calling." Outside, cicadas thrum beneath street lamp halos. Jamal waits by the curb holding 2 tickets, NASA's Johnson Space Center tour, a gift from Ava. "Figured the Cube Queen should see bigger frontiers," he says. She laughs, presses the cube into his hand. "We'll solve that sky together," she answers. They walk toward a future still unsolved, but no longer frightening. Every step clicks like a well-lubricated turn of plastic layers, colors sliding into harmony one intentional move at a time.